The wallet that changed everything, a ripple of kindness. 1. The Monday. Rush Monday mornings in Chicago are never easy. The city wakes up groggy and grumpy, dragging itself into another week. For me, it started with chaos. My alarm hadn't gone off, leaving me scrambling to get ready. Coffee was an afterthought, and as I rushed out of the apartment, I grabbed my coat, wallet, and bag in one hurried motion. The train station was crowded as usual. The blue line screeched to a halt, its doors sliding open to reveal a packed car. I squeezed my way in, standing shoulder to shoulder with other commuters. My mind was already racing ahead to the workday. Meetings, deadlines, and an important presentation that could determine whether we landed a big client. I didn't notice the subtle tug as my coat pocket shifted. Somewhere in the shuffle, my wallet slipped out and fell to the floor, unnoticed. A hole in my pocket. By the time I got to the office, my mind was still on autopilot. I greeted the receptionist with a distracted smile and headed straight to the elevator. As I reached for my ID badge to swipe in, my hand hit an empty pocket. Confused, I checked my other pockets, my bag, even my coat lining. Panic set in. My wallet was gone. My mind raced. Could I have left it at home? Dropped it on the train? My stomach churned as I replayed the morning over and over. Inside that wallet wasn't just cash or cards. It was a small piece of my life. The most important item wasn't the $60 I had tucked away or even my ID. It was a handwritten note from my late grandmother. She had written it years ago when I was going through a rough time. The words, "No matter how dark it gets, kindness will always find its way to you," were her way of reminding me that the world wasn't all bad. Losing that note felt like losing her all over again. The hunt begins. I couldn't focus on work. During my lunch break, I went back to the train station, hoping against hope that someone had turned in the wallet. I asked the station attendant, checked the lost and found, and even searched under the benches. Nothing. Feeling desperate, I retraced my steps. The train, the platform, the street outside the office, none of it turned up any clues. It was as if the wallet had vanished into thin air. Back at the office, my co-workers tried to console me. "Things like this happen," one of them said. "Sometimes they turn up in the weirdest places." Their words were meant to comfort me, but they didn't help. Acceptance and defeat. That evening, I sat on my couch, staring at the ceiling. The practical side of me took over. I froze my credit cards, reported my ID as lost, and ordered replacements. But the emotional weight of the loss lingered. The thought of someone else reading my grandmother's note, or worse, discarding it, was unbearable. I told myself to let it go. It was just a wallet after all. But deep down, it felt like more than that. A message from a stranger 2 days later, a notification popped up on my phone. A Facebook message request. The sender's name was Anna, and the message read, "Hi, did you lose a wallet on the blue line? I think I found it." I couldn't believe my eyes. Was this real? My hands shook as I typed back, describing the wallet and its contents. Within minutes, Anna replied with details that only someone holding the wallet could know, even mentioning the note from my grandmother. The angel, named Anna, explained that she had found the wallet on the train, lying on a seat after most passengers had left. She considered turning it in to the station's lost and found, but decided against it. "I was afraid it might get lost in the system," she wrote, "and when I saw the note, I knew I had to get it back to you." Her honesty and thoughtfulness left me speechless. She admitted that she had hesitated to message me, worried I might think she had bad intentions. The coffee shop meeting. We arranged to meet at a coffee shop in the Loop that evening. When Anna walked in, she smiled warmly and held up my wallet. It looked exactly as I remembered, intact, unscathed, and still holding my grandmother's note. Over coffee, I learned more about Anna. She was a nurse who worked long hours and often commuted late at night. She told me about the challenges of her job, her love for helping people, and the moment she decided to message me. "It just felt like the right thing to do," she said. Sharing the story to thank Anna, I shared our story in a local community group on Facebook. I wanted people to know about her act of kindness. The post went viral almost overnight, garnering hundreds of comments. People shared their own stories of lost and found items, praising Anna for her honesty. Paying it forward. Inspired by Anna, I resolved to pay her kindness forward. A few weeks later, I found a phone left behind on the train. Remembering Anna, I picked it up and tracked down the owner. The gratitude in their eyes mirrored my own when Anna returned my wallet. 10. A new perspective on humanity losing the wallet was more than just a minor inconvenience. In the days that followed, I began reflecting on the experience. Before Anna returned my wallet, I'd been skeptical about people's intentions. Living in a big city like Chicago often meant building walls, keeping your head down, and protecting yourself from potential scams, thefts, or disappointments. But Anna's act of kindness forced me to rethink my assumptions. That night, after our coffee shop meeting, I went home and sat with the wallet in my hands. I opened it carefully, almost reverently, pulling out my grandmother's note. Her familiar handwriting stared back at me, the edges of the paper slightly worn but still intact. No matter how dark it gets, kindness will always find its way. To you, for years, those words had been a quiet comfort, something I turned to during tough times. Now they felt like a prophecy. Anna's actions weren't just a random act of kindness, they were proof that goodness existed, even in the most unexpected places. That night, I promised myself I would carry this lesson forward. I wouldn't just be a passive recipient of kindness. I would actively seek ways to pass it on, to create the same ripple effect Anna had started. Axe, the viral post that changed everything. The next morning, still buzzing with gratitude, I opened Facebook and began writing. I wanted to share the story of Anna and her kindness with others, hoping it might inspire someone else to look for opportunities to help a stranger. The post wasn't anything fancy, just a heartfelt account of what had happened, how Anna had found the wallet, and how much her gesture had meant to me. I attached a picture of the wallet and, with her permission, mentioned Anna by name. I didn't expect much, maybe a few likes from friends or a couple of comments, but within hours, the post took on a life of its own. By lunchtime, it had hundreds of likes and dozens of comments. By the end of the day, it had been shared over 1,000 times. People from all over Chicago, and even other cities, were chiming in with their own stories of lost items, small kindnesses, and moments of human connection. Some shared stories of wallets or phones returned by strangers. Others admitted they hadn't believed such kindness still existed in the world. "This gives me hope," one commenter wrote. "Thank you for sharing." Anna, who wasn't on social media much, was taken aback when I showed her how far the story had spread. "I didn't do it for attention," she said, laughing but a little overwhelmed. "I just wanted to do the right thing." Her humility made the story even more powerful. She hadn't acted for recognition or reward, just because it was the kind thing to do. 12. A local hero. Emerges a week after the post went viral, I received an email from a producer at a local news station. They'd seen the story and wanted to feature it as part of a segment on acts of kindness in the city. At first, I hesitated. I wasn't sure if Anna would want that kind of attention, but when I told her about the opportunity, she encouraged me to go ahead. "It's not about me," she said. "It's about showing people that kindness is still out there." The interview was scheduled for a Wednesday evening. The reporter met us at the same coffee shop where Anna and I had reunited with the wallet. As the camera crew set up, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. The segment aired the following Sunday. It wasn't flashy or over the top, just a simple story about a lost wallet, an honest stranger, and the ripple effect of kindness, but the response was overwhelming. People began reaching out to me, sharing how the story had inspired them. One man messaged me, saying he'd been holding onto a wallet he'd found weeks ago, but hadn't gotten around to returning it. "Your story pushed me to track down the owner," he said. "Thank you." Another woman wrote about how the story motivated her to volunteer at a local food bank. "It's a small thing," she wrote, "but it's my way of paying it forward." The ripple effect was real, and it was growing. 13. Paying it forward. My own test. Few weeks later, I found myself in a situation that felt eerily similar to what Anna must have experienced. It was a rainy Thursday evening, and I was riding the Blue Line home after a long day at work. The train was almost empty, and I noticed a phone sitting on the seat across from me. I looked around, but no one seemed to be searching for it. The train pulled into the next station, and still no one came to claim it. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do, but then I thought of Anna. I picked up the phone and unlocked the screen. Thankfully, there was no password, and a notification revealed a recent message from someone named Mom. Using the contact information, I managed to call the owner's family and arrange to meet them at the next station. When I handed the phone back, the young man who owned it looked at me with a mix of relief and disbelief. "Thank you," he said. "I thought it was gone for good." Walking away, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. It wasn't just about the act itself. It was about continuing the chain of kindness that Anna had started. An unexpected twist. In the park months later, on a sunny Saturday afternoon, I was walking through Millennium Park when I noticed a mother and her young daughter sitting on a bench. The girl was crying, and the mother looked distressed, rummaging through her bag and glancing around the park as if searching for something. I approached cautiously, asking if they needed help. The mother explained that her daughter had lost her favorite stuffed rabbit somewhere in the park. It wasn't just a toy, she said. It was her daughter's constant companion, something she carried everywhere. Remembering my own experience with losing something precious, I immediately offered to help. Together, we retraced their steps, scanning the grass, benches and pathways. It took nearly an hour, but finally we spotted the rabbit tucked under a bush near the playground. The girl's face lit up when I handed it back to her. She hugged it tightly, her tears quickly turning into a beaming smile. The mother thanked me profusely, her relief palpable. Walking away, I couldn't help but think of Anna and my grandmother's note. Kindness always finds its way back to, "You done 15." The grandmother's note. A full circle. The note from my grandmother had always been a source of comfort, but after everything that had happened, its meaning deepened. Her words felt like a guiding principle, a reminder that even in a world full of chaos and uncertainty, kindness could shine through. I framed the note and placed it on my desk at home. Every morning, as I sat down to work, I glanced at it and remembered the lessons I'd learned. A lifetime of ripples looking back. Losing my wallet was one of the best things that ever happened to me. It reconnected me with my grandmother's wisdom, introduced me to Anna, and reminded me of the incredible power of small acts of kindness. The story didn't end with me. It continued to ripple outward, inspiring others to act with compassion in their own lives. Even now, years later, I still carry the wallet with pride, not because of what it holds, but because of what it represents, a chain of kindness, a stranger's honesty, and the enduring impact of a handwritten note.